Hi guys, back again with another video. Now in this video we are going to talk about oxygen monitoring in the time of COVID. So there are a lot of oxygen monitoring devices. There are some over here. I'll be showing you that which does monitor your oxygen, but they are not suitable for COVID situation. So the purpose of those oxygen monitoring devices are different. There are two major categories. So you have your pulse oximeters, this one where you put your finger in like that and then monitor your oxygen. Now this is very different from your smart watches, smart bands, and even phones. So even phones, some of the phones have oxygen monitoring built into it from the past I don't know how many years. People just did not know about it, and the actual purpose of that monitor was something different. It was more related to exercising. So we'll be talking about that in this video. So let's go. Let's start. So I have made 7 points. In the 7 points you will be able to understand the difference between all the devices. So let's start with the first one. So the oxymeter. So let's start with the basic one, the oxymeter. Now this is a standalone device. The only job this does is monitoring your oxygen and checking your heart rate. That's it. But when it comes to smart bands, smart watches, their job is not oxygen monitoring. Their job is step count. Their job is, the name itself is smart band, smart watch. So they do smart functions. Oxygen monitoring or O2 monitoring or oxygen saturation monitoring is just a feature which has been put into it. Now the features are not that great. We'll be talking about that later on. So the second point. Now the pulse oximeter is a continuous blood oxygen monitoring device. So what I mean by continuous is this is a true continuous monitoring device. Why? Because you put your finger in, switch this on, it'll take around 5 to 7 seconds, that's it, and it will start monitoring and you will start hearing a continuous beep. It'll not stop, it'll go on. So this is a true continuous oxygen monitoring device. So when you remove it from your finger, it will detect that there is no finger in there and it will stop, and then it will automatically go off. But with a smart band, smart watch and stuff, it does not do true continuous oxygen monitoring. Now what do I mean by true continuous oxygen monitoring? They only get activated when you are sleeping. So the OnePlus band, the Oppo band, so the famous Oppo band, nowadays there are a lot of reviewers who are saying that this has continuous oxygen monitoring, but they are not testing the device. I have tested these devices. They do not do continuous monitoring. They can only, like the Oppo band and the OnePlus band, they can only do monitoring when you are sleeping. So once you are asleep, it will monitor your oxygen saturation. And the next day it will tell you, congratulations, you are still alive, your oxygen did go low. So I don't understand how is that going to be useful to me? If the oxygen level goes low, at least it should warn me. There should be a vibration, there should be some message on the phone, something should happen, but nothing will happen. You will get the result the next day. When you look into that, you will see your heart rate, you will see your sleep cycle, you will see your oxygen saturation at the bottom. So it does a continuous one, but only when you're sleeping. Now there are little more advanced ones like the Apple Watch Series 6. This is a Series 3, not a 6. So I cannot show you the feature, but I did open it up over here. So this is the Apple website. So I checked over there about the sleep monitoring feature. So the blood oxygen saturation is only over here. It says that it only works when you are idle. So it will randomly keep taking randomly as in whenever you are idle, it will keep taking measurements to keep a check on you that your oxygen level is okay or not. So that is the closest that the smart bands or smart watches have come to. So the devices, the other devices you have to manually activate the oxygen sensor. You have to activate it. It takes around 25 to 30 seconds to show you your result, and it'll just take it and then done. Then if you want to see it again, you'll have to again activate it and then see it again. So it's not a true continuous monitoring device. So a lot of people who are claiming, or if people are telling you that smart bands can continuously monitor, they are lying. It's not true. For me, continuous means continuous the whole day. Like if I'm not well or I want to keep a check on my oxygen the entire day, it has to be it should not switch off. So I don't care about the battery life. I'll charge my device every day, but it should not switch off. So that feature is still not available on any of the devices. I've been searching for the past 7 days for any such device which does it. The closest that you will get is the Apple Watch, but it's for the cheapest version of it is for 40,000 rupees. So it's more expensive than, actually it's more expensive than most of my Android phones now. So that does not sound logical. For oxygen monitoring, buying a 40,000 rupees device, no. Now the third point, this is the very interesting point. A lot of people think that the sensor technology that's being used in these kind of devices and oximeter is the same, but no. First part is the same, where you're using an infrared and a red light to monitor the saturation. So basically, in layman's terms, so basically when it's monitoring the light reflecting to the sensor, the red light is being sent from the device, and when it reflects back, it sees that how much of the light came back, and then it calculates, it does its own calculation inside and tells you how much of oxygen you have. Now that is a reflecting technology. Now the reflecting technology is being used in bands and watches, but the true oxygen meter, these kind of things have two sensors. So one on top, which actually has the infrared and the red light. So that light is sent from there and it's going to pass through your finger, and at the bottom there's another sensor which gets the light. So that is going to give you a more accurate result than the reflective one. Why? Because the reflective one depends on the placement also. That's actually the next point, we'll be talking about that. And the color of your skin, if you have a tattoo or something over there, or sometimes your band is loose, it's turned a little bit this side that side, you're not going to get a proper result, because it has to have a good seal so that the reflection is proper. So that's why it's not going to work that well. That's why that limitation is still there. That's why most of the bands are not continuous monitors, because it cannot do that, because the band will keep moving. So that's the limitation we have here. So hopefully you understand that this is not explained. People are not talking about this for some reason. They should be. Fourth point, the battery life itself. So ideally, if I am not well, I need a continuous heart rate monitor. Even if that feature comes into a band, I will have to remove it and put it for charging sometime. I don't care even if it has like good battery life, but sometime I'll have to take it out. Especially if you have an Apple Watch, people know, people who own an Apple Watch know that if you actually truly use it with all the features on, it does not go more than a day. It does not. If most of the features are off, it may go beyond that, but ideally it won't. But I still have to remove it and charge it for another 2-3 hours. So what happens in that 2-3 hours? In these kind of devices with two batteries, it can go on for 4 to 5 days minimum on a continuous monitoring. So it can continuously monitor your heart rate for 4 to 5 days, and as soon as the battery is over, all you have to do is open this up like this and then remove the battery and replace it. So in few seconds you are ready to go again. So this makes more sense to me. Now the fifth point is the timing itself. So pulse oximeter takes around 5 to 7 seconds to show you from start, as in when you switch it on, it will take around 5 to 7 seconds to show you the result, and it's going to give you a continuous result. But a watch or a band takes the minimum that I've tried in all of them, minimum around 25 to 30 seconds. It will take that much of time to show you the oxygen level. So it's going to be slow, and we've already spoken about the rest of the thing, so it's going to be slow. Sixth point. Now this is not going to be a device which you will carry around with you everywhere. So like if you're going to work, if you are going to the gym, if you're going for a walk, you're going for a bath, you're going for whatever you're doing, you'll not be roaming around with it. These are not IPX5 and above rated. These are like IPX22 rated. So that means dust is a big problem, water is a big problem. So you will have to use something like these, the bands and watches, which will be there with you continuously. So this fulfills that purpose. So in case you are working or you're working out or you are doing whatever and suddenly you feel that you are feeling breathless, that time you can activate the sensor and see how much is your oxygen. So in those scenarios, these devices are going to be much better. Now the seventh point, now this is kind of related to the sixth point itself, that you cannot use this while you're exercising. Now why is this a important point and why am I making this a next point is because before even COVID could come, the O2 level monitoring was already there, but the purpose of that was to check your oxygen saturation while you are exercising, which in other terms they call it as VO2 max. So when I am exercising, how much of oxygen is my blood getting? Like if I'm pumping iron, if I'm lifting weights and stuff, when you are lifting, your heart rate goes high, it is pumping more and blood is being sent to those parts where you are exercising. So at that time, oxygen is what is the most important thing that it has to get. So if it doesn't get enough oxygen, you will feel fatigue, you will get giddy and all those problems will come in. It's not just your diet. So if you are not getting proper oxygen, you will not be able to exercise properly also. So this technology was already there, it was being used on bands. So the oxygen saturation over here would be for that purpose. So that's why I was talking about, I made this a separate point. So while you're exercising, this is not going to be useful for you, because anyways when you're picking up weights, you can't hold this. So this is not going to be useful for you. But if you are going for exercise and stuff, then this is going to be much more useful. So those were the points that I wanted to talk about. So now let's talk about who should be buying the pulse oximeter and who should be buying the band. So now the band is going to be useful if you want to keep a check on yourself, like in between, I mean you don't have COVID or if you are healthy right now, but you want to be sure that your oxygen level is being monitored and you catch it in time before it goes beyond a level. You want to catch it in time, then these kind of devices are going to be helpful, where it intermediately checks your oxygen saturation and you can check for yourself, manually check it. But if you are not well, then these devices are not useful, because you will have to continuously keep checking yourself, or it will check when you're sleeping and it's not going to warn you. Then you need these devices. So in the time of COVID, these are the devices you need, not them. I've already explained to you in the 7 points that what all they do, so you already know about it. So hopefully I answered most of your questions. If you still have any, go ahead, comment, and my information is available in the description and at the end of the video. So stay safe, stay home, stay safe, and I'll see you again with another video. Bye bye.